it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexual Life, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button down below, right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we're going along if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful, or if you just want to give it some like. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories. They are real life asexual stories as well. Love, life and sex, celebrate asexual diversity. I'm also the founder of Asexualise.com and founder of Asexualise Academy. Welcome so much. Thank you for the thumbs up to tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is all about how to deal with dating rejection. This is a topic that comes up quite a lot in asexual forums and groups. And I know from personal experience how difficult it can be. You know, when someone rejects you, it can be kind of really hard. I personally find it harder if someone rejects me and I don't know them than if they're an actual friend, which might sound really weird, but that's because my friends, you know, are always going to be my friends. And sometimes, like, you may want to move from a friendship with someone into a relationship, but you may not be suitable for a relationship together. And so I think rejection by an actual friend, for me personally, is a lot easier to accept and better for me to accept than a stranger, because it's kind of like they're basing it on my own well-being and caring about me, usually, like saying, you know, I can't provide your needs, you know, I love you to bits, basically, as a friend. They don't always use those words, but sometimes they do say I love you, you know, like as in I care about you a lot, but we wouldn't be suitable for relationships. So for me, that type of rejection personally, I find a lot easier to accept, because it's like the person still cares about me. They don't think I'm a horrible person. I still get on really well with them. Just we're not suitable to be together in a relationship because we both have different relationship needs. And for me, that's a very positive rejection experience. You know, it's good feedback. They often tell me why we wouldn't be suitable for a relationship, and it's not a reflection of me personally or them personally in and of our own right. It's a reflection of what the two beings would be like in an actual relationship together when you've both got different needs that can't be matched. And obviously then the person's kind of protecting you, looking after your own well-being as well as their own, and saying, look, this just wouldn't work. So I think that's a positive rejection. So sometimes you can have positive rejection and you can have them what may seem like the more negative rejection. When I say the more negative rejection, that's kind of like when these people, they start messaging you saying how wonderful you are, they want to go on a date with you, or they want to see you, or they want to video chat with you, or they, you know, they start messaging you, and then all of a sudden they ghost you. They just stop messaging you, or you never hear from them again, or after a short space of getting to know you, that's it, they're gone, right? This is like ghosting behavior when they completely disappear. And it's very, you know, it's hard not to take it personally. You're like thinking, well, why did they stop talking to me? But usually it's because they've got something going on in their own life. You know, it's not something that, you know, is down to you. Usually it's something that's happened in their own life because they don't know you. Do you see what I mean? As I was saying a few minutes ago, when it's a friend that's rejecting me, they have their real and valid reasons, and they still care about me as a person. It's no reflection on anything I've done wrong or anything bad about me, just like it's not with them. But I think when it's a stranger, it can feel like harder but in actual fact, we shouldn't take it as such a hefty blow to us, because these people don't know us. So they have no regard for how we actually are in person. They haven't got to know us, these people that have been with us a short time, or maybe just a few messages. They haven't got to know us as a person. They can't really judge us because they don't know what we're really like, you know, and it's kind of a reflection on them, their personality and their behavior. So for example, I told you there was this guy that messaged me saying, you're my ideal lady, right? He messaged me, okay, and I told you he reminded me of Orlando Bloom, the actor. And I said to you, the only thing I didn't like about his profile is a smoker, and I couldn't be with a smoker. So I told him that I couldn't be with a smoker, but I would be happy like to video chat or meet up. But obviously he might have taken the fact that he smokes and I can't be with a smoker as that's it, end of story, which is fine. But I think if someone's coming on a message saying you're my ideal lady, one, they don't even know if I'm ideal for them really, because they don't know me. But two, but they say it's because they saw my profile. But two is, you know what I mean? If someone's saying you're the ideal person, then all of a sudden they don't even speak to you anymore. It's obviously they weren't telling the truth. Do you know what I mean? That, you know, they weren't caring about you. They might, maybe in their fantasy, they thought you were the ideal person for them, that not in the reality, you know? And anyone who really gives any care about you whatsoever, even an acquaintance, would respond. So he hasn't responded to my messages, you know? And he could have responded saying, oh, well, you know, I understand that you don't want someone who doesn't smoke, so we wouldn't be suitable for them, but I wish you luck. But he said nothing to me, not even replied. And he's definitely seen the messages now. So that is a form of rejection, obviously. But then you could argue that I rejected him in the first place by saying I can't be with someone who smokes. But obviously, some guys, they will give smoking up. They'll be like, well, it's not really, especially an occasional smoker. But then some people aren't really occasional smokers when they say they are. Their occasional smoking is like 10 a day rather than 30 a day. Do you see what I mean? So you've got to like think to yourself that when someone rejects you, it's not necessarily got anything to do with you. It's a reflection of them and who they are and the problems and issues going on in their own life at the moment, you know? I mean, why are they saying someone is ideal straight away when they don't know the person, you know? They could have said, I'd like to get to know you better or something like this. But clearly they haven't responded. And, you know, when someone doesn't respond like that, they've used the words, oh, I think we'd be, you know, ideal, so great together, basically. It does hurt a little bit because it's like, well, that's not very nice saying I'm your ideal lady and then all of a sudden I'm not. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, but it's not a reflection on me, is it? It's a reflection on them that they said something that wasn't true. That wasn't true. So that I'm better off without that person. And that's how you have to look at rejection. You have to look at rejection as a form of sifting out the people that are no good for you. You want to repel the people that are no good for you. I'll repeat that again. You want to repel the people that are no good for you. Because if you just entice and invite everyone and anyone, and everyone likes you and interested in a relationship with you, that's not really going to work, is it? You need to repel the people who don't like your personality, who don't like things you do, who don't like things about you, and attract the people that do. Because you want to eliminate all the people that are wrong people for you to be in a relationship with. So you can get to the people that are, you know, that are going to potentially be right for you to be in a relationship with. Do you see what I mean? So, you know, it's like when you are searching for a job and you know there's certain jobs that you just won't like doing, and so you kind of cross them off your list, and then there's ones that you might think about trying, but if you try them, they don't work out, you cross them off your list until you get to the job where it makes you most happy, where you want to spend your most time, where you want to, you know, you feel good and you get on well with the person or people involved. Do you see what I mean? So you've got to kind of look at it in that way, and you have to understand that these people have no right to judge you based on this short snippet of information they've got about you. So don't think that their judgment of you is how you should live your life. Oh, someone's rejected me. They've said this, that, and the other about me. So this must mean I'm a bad person, or I'm not good enough, or I'm this, that, and the other. No, because they don't know you. They haven't got the full picture of you. They got a little snippet based on the little tiny bit of conversation they had with you. So, for example, I will go and explain what else happened. So I was on asexuality.com, which is an asexual dating site. And there was this guy. And on the asexuality.com website, I have a thread, a forum thread, which I set up a very, very long time ago. We're talking, I think, a couple of years ago now. And it's all about who on here is actually looking for a serious and committed no-sex relationship. Because I was that fed up with being on there and getting frustrated with the amount of people that you speak to, and then they just don't speak to you after a couple of messages. Do you know what I mean? It's like loads of people are saying on that site, oh, I'm looking for a serious committed relationship, or I'm looking for a relationship, but a lot of the time they're not. And that's another thing you have to understand the dating world, you know, specifically the asexual dating world, is that when people say they're looking for a serious committed relationship, a lot of the time they're not, or they don't know what it entails, or they're not really prepared for the reality of it. This is what I found in my experience, you know, whether that's because they're introverted, whether that's because they've got that, you know, like I said, their own issues going on in life, for whatever reason, it is what it is, you know. And this is a prime example, right? So this guy posted in response to my thread, who here is actually looking for a serious committed no sex relationship. He posted going, I just joined this site 2 days ago and I am looking for a serious committed relationship. That's what he put in my thread, right? And then I sent him a message saying I'm also looking for a serious relationship and live in the UK, because he lived in the UK. And he happened to say Asian on his profile. You know, I like Indian guys, but Asian can mean Chinese, Indian, or maybe some other. So anyway, I said, hi, how are you? I was so happy to read your profile and see you live in the UK. I live in Exeter and Devon in the UK and not too far away. And I also hold asexual meetups in my city if you ever want to come. Our next one is on the 15th of December at 1 p.m. Food, drink and chat. I'm looking for a serious relationship also, and interpersonal and professional development, self-growth. I'm looking for a younger foreign guy for a relationship, and I would like to get to know you more and what you're looking for in terms of a relationship. Sandra, right? Because he is older than I usually go for. He's not in his 20s. So, but you know, I saw that he was into personal professional development, always want to improve himself. So I just thought, well, this guy might be suitable for me. Yeah. So I messaged him, right? And he has now deleted his account since yesterday. And so it's rather like annoying, really, but it's good because clearly he's not suitable for me. But I don't understand why, if he signed up as a member, he completely deleted his profile, because obviously he's not really serious, is he? He's obviously got his own issues going on. That's what I said. These people, sometimes they have their own issues going on. To actually join a site and then, you know, and then go off it like that. I mean, I could worry, go, oh, he doesn't like me that much, he left the site. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's not healthy to think that way. You know, they've got their own issues. If he's paid membership, why would he leave the site? You know, when someone says they're interested. But he may have deleted his messages, right? But I've got them on email, because basically what happened is where are we? Basically, what happens is when you go on asexuality.com, you also get emailed all of the messages that someone sends you. So I'm just going to look up in my inbox now my messages so I can tell you what he said. So he may... So you can see how the conversation went, because I think it's important to understand that, you know, you can't define yourself by how someone else judges you when they don't know you. And this is important because otherwise you could sink into a depression. Do you know what I mean? If someone rejected you and they just said, oh, you know, really bad things about you. So I think it's really, really important to know that, you know, that you can... Oh, hi, Sam. It's nice to see you. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. So yeah, I think it's really important to know that, you know, it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them, because if they don't really know you, they shouldn't be jumping to conclusions and having, you know, certain attitudes with you. And, you know, just because someone rejects you doesn't mean to say someone else will. But I mean, he's deleted all his profile now since yesterday, and it's really weird because the last message he sent was saying, yes, I do want to come to a meetup after all. So it's really, really, really weird, right? So let me see if I can find what message there. That's from someone else a long time ago. Right. Let me see if I can find the messages that. Right. Okay. 8th of December. Right. Yes. Right. Okay. Oh, this is really interesting. So this was how he replied back to that message. He put, "Hi Sandra, thanks for your email. Unfortunately, it won't be possible for me to attend the next meetup. I'm English, as you may already have noticed from my profile. I'm primarily looking for a friendship," which is not what you said in my thread, "and would be interested in a serious long-term relationship with the right person at some point. That's good to know. I hope you find someone interesting. Hope you have a great weekend." So basically, he's assuming that my meetups are used for dating. And he's basically given me the brush off, basically saying, well, hope you find someone interesting there. Bye, basically. But, he's saying he's looking for a long-term committed relationship in the answer to my forum thread. Then in this, he's saying he's looking for a friendship primarily. So you see, people don't always say what they mean. So that was his response. And then I put, "Thanks for your reply. My meetups are usually used for socializing and making friends, not usually dating. In your profile, it says you are Asian. And when you answered my who here is actually looking for a serious and committed no-sex relationship, you said you were. All good relationships start with friendship first. And by your answer, you obviously think I am not going to be the right person for you. And you don't want to get to know me. So I wish you well and will continue my journey to find my beautiful foreign soulmate who is a consciously aware guy. Good luck, Sandra." Right? Because that's he just jumped to conclusion. And I think this is what you've got to understand with the dating is that some people will judge you just on the snippet of information you've got and how they view the world and how they view things. Do you know what I mean? Like he just assumed from his comment about, "Oh, I hope you find someone interesting," like my meetups are used for dating. He automatically just jumped to that conclusion, which to me can be quite rude. Do you know what I mean? From my own personal point of view, that can be quite rude that he didn't even ask about them. He's just making assumptions. We know, which is not nice. But you have to understand that the dating scene is it is like you get snippets of people. You don't really understand other people until you spend a lot of time with them, get to know them over a period of time. That's why it's very difficult if you ever get into a relationship with someone quickly, because it's not likely to work because they don't really know you, don't really know them, and they can put on all this, "Oh, I'm wonderful" type aura. Do you know what I mean? When really they're not who they're cracked up to be. So it's important. And then what happened? Right, yeah. So for some reason I haven't got the middle one that he seemed that's deleted. But basically he said that when he sent the other message, I don't know why it's not not come up with the other one. Weird. But basically in his message reply to that, he said that that he said that he wasn't foreign. He said that he wasn't foreign, that he was British born, and that ethnicity and nationality are two different things. And you better be careful when you speak about them because you could offend someone else. In other words, he was offended by that fact that I said foreign, I'm looking for a foreign guy. Because he said, but he said Asian on his profile, So how I responded to that was I said, "Hi, so and so," or should I say blah blah blah, because he had a different name in my thread. "I'm looking for a guy who is British/English born, but of foreign ethnic origin. Many of the foreign guys who live abroad and born abroad, so both their nationality and ethnicity is foreign, are sadly looking to get married for a visa. And I'm not saying that to be horrible, but in my vast experience of being on the asexual dating scene since 2014, and that includes how long I've been on this site, I am picky about who will be with me in a future relationship, but I also believe in grabbing opportunities when they arise and not living in fear either. All the people coming so far to my asexual meetup are my friends or acquaintances I have gotten to know. When it seemed it was assumed I was just getting people together for dating by the hope you find someone interesting remark. Although you are most likely to find someone suitable for an asexual relationship either online or at a meetup, unless of course you are willing to have sex despite being asexual. And most asexuals need to travel or move for a relationship or find someone who would be willing to do that. I hold both national and local meetups for asexuals in my city, and the guy who came the furthest away lived in Newcastle. It took him 12 hours on a bus each way. I am an outspoken girl, and guess you need a more timid sort of person who is not out to the world about being asexual and more reserved and watching whatever they say for fear of upsetting someone. And clearly, I am not that girl. So far, guys who have conversed with me will say something like, I was born in the UK, but my blah, blah, blah relative was from such and such a country. And then we are in conversation. But I will bear in mind what you have said for future reference. Thank you. All the best, Sandra. And then, what's he replied to that? So then he's replied to that with oh yeah, I have to go to the email because obviously it's deleted there. So this is what's so interesting. He wrote this and deleted it straight away afterwards. Right, where is it? Yeah. Dear Sandra, so his tone of voice has changed because in the last message, it was all about, oh well, you know, I'm not foreign. I was born in Britain. You can tell that from my profile. It's like, well, so if someone puts Asian and they speak Farsi as well, it's like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to assume that they're British born. And you know, even though they said that English, French, and Farsi, I think they said they could speak. But you know, I think it's important not to assume anything, you know. So his tone's changed from, oh well, you might upset someone else, like I upset him by saying that, to a really pleasant, nice tone of voice. And then he deleted all his messages and deleted himself off the site. He's a deleted user. He's not on there anymore. Whether he comes under a different name, I don't know. But he was a symbol. You couldn't see a picture of him. So he put, Dear Sandra, thank you for your email. I would like to attend one of the meetups sometime early in the new year. We asexuals are a very small community. It would be nice to meet other like-minded people. Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the confusion. To answer your question, my great-grandfather was from Persia or present-day Azerbaijan. Hope that answers your question, with a smiley face. And then he literally just deleted all the... He's a deleted user now, so everything's deleted. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, what the heck do you make out of that? It's very bizarre. Emery Can, good luck. Oh, thank you. So do you know what I mean? It's just very, very bizarre. So you've got to think that oh, thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate that. So do you know what I mean? You've got to understand, and thanks for the thumbs up, appreciate that too. You've got to understand that do you know what I mean? That it's not you, it's them. Do you know what I mean? They've obviously got personal issues or whatever. No one joins the site and then after a few messages goes off the site usually and deletes their profile. But a lot of people on asexuality don't stay on that site very long. There's people that haven't been on there for 3 or 4 years. So you've got to realise that it's nothing personal, and that, you know, it might be the case of he's realised now, damn, if I want a relationship, I'm going to have to move or travel. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go off this site. Or he might just have not been ready for the serious committed relationship he thought he was, you know, was. And especially when he changed his wording from I'm looking for friendship rather than relationship and relationship later, because that's not what he was saying in my thread. So I think it's important to not take this stuff personally, you know? I mean, changing tones of voice from one of, oh, you might upset people, to, oh, that's really kind of you, sorry to confuse you, is, do you know what I mean? It's completely contradictory. So you just have to look at yourself and say, am I being honest? Am I being open with other people? Am I allowing my truth to come through? And, you know, speaking my own truth despite the outcome. And if the answer is yes, then you've done nothing wrong, you know? There might be some people that don't like introverts. There might be some people that don't like extroverts. There might be some people that like peace and quiet and some people that like noise. There might be some people that are one religion and some people another. You're not always going to get on and find the right person for you just like that. It's going to be trial and error. And it's also important, like I said, to free yourself of all the people that are no good to be in a relationship for you. Like, cross them off your list. You don't want to be going after and spending months, years, days, hours, weeks, year after year with someone who's not right for you because you haven't asked the right questions, because they're being secretive, they're not being completely honest and open with you, and you can't really get to the bottom and the truth of, you know, who they really are as a person. So you have to understand that rejection is the best form of moving forward with your life, because everything happens for a reason. And you know, if you harbor after that person, that's a big no-no. Never ever go back after the person. Once the person said no and rejected you, that's it. Don't go back after them. Don't beg them. Don't plead with them. Don't whine. Move on. You know, they're clearly not right for you. You know, you have to value yourself and your own self-worth enough not to go back. I don't go back to my exes. They're my past. I never go back. Your ex is an ex for a reason. Do you know one of the most Googled terms on like YouTube is how to get my ex back, how to win my ex back? You should never ever want to win your ex back. Your ex is an ex for a reason, because it wasn't right. The relationship didn't go according to plan. Wasn't right. It's gone. It's over. It's done. It's dusted. Move on. Do you know what I mean? There's so many people that are hankering for after the past, that are hankering for after a love that's like years ago, and they can't get over it. You have to get over it and move on to make way for new love to come into your life, because you're not going to be able to make way for new love to come into your life if you're harboring feelings for someone else. If you're harboring feelings for someone else, then don't go on dating sites for a while. Stay off them till you recover. Or you could use the other tactic of, oh well, cross them off the list, and like I said, just forget about that person and focus on the people that you could be in a relationship with, the person that you could be in a relationship with. You know, sometimes it works best to just get out there and back on the dating scene again, because you can feel like, you know, that's just one person that didn't want to be with you, or just a couple or whatever. And then other times you need to take a break from dating, because if you're feeling empty, lost, lonely yourself, and like your cup's not filled up and your life's, you know, not really going anywhere, then you obviously have some work to do on yourself and your own life first. So that means you might need to take a break from dating for a while. But, you know, you need to make that decision consciously. But, you know, one of the ways to get over someone is by getting back in the dating scene. But it's no good if you're getting on the dating scene and then the people that you're coming up across, you're going, oh, well, my ex-girlfriend did this and I've still got feelings for her, or my ex-boyfriend, I really loved all these things and wished I was still there with him now. Do you know what I mean? That just doesn't work. I've come across guys, particularly, as you know, I've got a thing for Indian guys, and I come across quite a few of them that as a teenager, like late teenager, they would still have feelings since that time when they're like in their 30s over a girl that they really, really were attracted to. Thanks for the thumbs up. And it's like they're still hankering after them. It's like this person, this woman might even be married now, or gonna get married, and they're like, oh, she's gonna get married. We were teenager, love, sweetheart. She was the love of my life. And they're still from the age of like, I don't know, 19 or early 20s. Now they're in the 30s. It's like over 10 years later, they still have that feeling for that person. But it's no good doing that, because another person cannot be fully loved by you if you're still in love with someone else. How would you like it if you were with someone who still was in love with someone else? You know, you need to love the one you're with, or find someone else. You know, you should know that the person with you is the ultimate person who's right for you. So the person that's no longer in a relationship with you for whatever reason shouldn't be in a relationship with you, because it obviously didn't work. And you need to move on. Never ever harbor after the past, because the past is gone. You need to focus on the present and the future. You know, I mean, eHarmony. I did used to be on eHarmony years ago before I found out I was asexual. You know, I spent 3 months on eHarmony. I actually paid and signed up to their service. And as soon as I put, I want a no sex relationship, that's when I got no one, you know? And everyone I spoke to, you know, wanted sex. And that's why I didn't get anyone on there in the end, because I decided to put my profile, I don't want sex. And I got no responses, because that's what they were all after. That's not a sense of me being rejected as a person. That's a fact of my sexual orientations being rejected. I didn't know I was asexual back then, so I didn't say I was asexual. I said I didn't like sex. So my sexual preferences were being rejected, not me, because I didn't like sex. But they do have like a blog, and they do actually give some very, very good advice about dating rejection. And one of the things is, don't take it personally, which I've already gone through basically. But you know, it is a really good point they make, is although it may feel very hurtful, I'm reading from my phone, by the way, if you see me looking down, although it may feel very hurtful, it's not you as a person that is being rejected. In the dating process, it's unlikely that the person rejecting you will have begun to really get to know you. They are more likely to be responding to something in their own life than anything you have said or done. So they are more like, so try not to label yourself based on one interaction, which was probably superficial anyway. Be careful that you don't give your power away and allow someone who doesn't really know you to have a great deal of influence over your self-image. Online communication, or even several dates, doesn't qualify someone as an expert on you to judge you. And I think that's a very good piece of advice from eHarmony. It's so true. Just, you know, people just see snippets of you on the internet. Doesn't give them the right to judge you and for you to think you're less worthy or no, don't deserve love just because someone rejected you and based on, you know, their actions, you know. You are a wonderful human being in and of your own right, and someone will love your personality. Like, I need someone who will love me for my quirky personality. My personality is a huge part of who I am, a huge part of who I am. So I know that the right guy will love me for my quirks. That's why he will be with me. Yes, he might be physically attracted to me, he might be aesthetically attracted to me, but he will be with me ultimately because of my quirky personality, because it takes a certain type of guy to be a match for my personality. Not everyone's going to be a match in a relationship for me like that, you know, and my wants, needs, and likes and dislikes, you know. So you're looking as well. We've got to remember that we're looking for just that one person. Obviously, if you're not monogamous, you're polyamorous, you're looking for more than one. But if we just take the simplest term, because you're definitely, everyone's looking for at least one person, right? So just think you're looking for the one person. You don't have to be getting thousands of people that are right for you. You just need that one person to be right for you. And yes, as an asexual person who doesn't like sex, it is a lot more difficult to find that someone special. You know, we are 1% of the population. There's more females to males in general for asexuals. And there tends to be more aromantic asexuals than any other type of asexual, which is they lack romantic attraction and they lack sexual attraction, right? And I found out that most of my friends are into guys. So I'm not suitable for any of my friends, because obviously friendship should be the foundation of a good relationship. So it's all very well going on these dating sites and being on the dating scene, but unless a person's actually striving to get to know you as a friend and an individual, they're never going to be suitable for a relationship with you anyway. If they don't keep up the conversation, if they ghost you, if they stop texting you, if they stop messaging you, they obviously didn't care about you that much. You know, someone who cares about you and loves you, even as a friend or human being, they'll want to spend time with you, they'll want to get to know you, they'll want to message you, maybe video chat with you, phone call with you, they'll want to meet up with you eventually in person. You know, even good friends and my best friends on here will do that. Do you know what I mean? Because they care about you. You're valuable to them. They appreciate you. And the right person for a relationship will do that with you as well. And if these people are online, sadly, you know, the online world is swipe, swipe, swipe. And I'd like to say that was untrue for asexuals. But, you know, being on the asexual dating scene, I've been on the asexual dating scene now since 2014. So when I'm talking about asexual dating and relationships on this channel, I'm not just speaking about it. I'm not just speaking about it from, you know, from a theoretical point of view. I'm speaking about it from a practical point of view. Which website is most convenient for asexual marriage, in your opinion? I'm not into marriage, so I don't like marriage personally. One is what you need to know why you want to get married in the first place, I would argue, before you even, you know, and then And then obviously, like, I'm on asexuality.com. They have got a group called Mates for Marriage. So if you want to join asexuality.com, but you have to pay membership if you want to private message people. You can create a profile for free, but if you want to private message people, then you have to pay a yearly fee. But you know, most dating sites you have to do that on, so it's pretty normal, really. And they have a group for Mates for Marriage, but I wouldn't say any specific website for asexuals are great for marriage, but probably that one a bit more than acebook.net, because ace-book.net. But I don't want to get married, so I already on there. Thanks for advices. Yeah, okay. So yeah, on asexuality.com there's a group called Mates for Marriage. So I would go on the Mates for Marriage group, because obviously those people want marriage. Go through the list of members and find the people that you're interested in your area, in the group. That's the best thing to do. So go to the group Mates for Marriage, search for the members, find out where the locations are, and find out if there's anyone that would be suitable for you. That's what I would say. But obviously, you know, marriage is a big thing. So make sure it's right for you and the other person is what I'd say. But yeah, I personally am not into marriage whatsoever. You know, I don't need a piece of paper for that. But some people are, some people cultures and religion, which is another thing, you know, like when you're dating, you know, it can be a lot of things as to why a person doesn't want to be with you. You know, it might be simple as a religious thing, you know. I mean, I tend to like Indian guys, but most Indian guys want marriage at least. A lot want kids, but if they're asexual, they don't tend to need kids, but they need marriage. And I'm not a marriage girl, and a lot of them need a housewife, and I'm the exact opposite to that. I'm a business girl, not a housewife. So so yeah, you know, it's opposite to what I believe. So when you're on the dating scene, there might not be like even at all rejecting you as a person. They might be rejecting the idea of some of the things that you like, because you're not compatible. And sadly, some people, I think, are more cowardice, you know, rather than actually, well, you might not see it as cowardice. They might have a problem with communication and openness and honesty, and they might be afraid of telling someone the truth, right? What the better way would to be is to say, I see you like this religion. It won't, you know, it won't go well with my own religion. Or I see you have this view and opinion. I appreciate it's yours, but you know, I'm not looking for that type of person. Do you know what I mean? There was one person that I connected with on Facebook after I saw him on ace-book.net. I call it ace-book.net. And as soon as I messaged him on Facebook, he said, oh, your profile is full of positive things. I don't want someone like that for a relationship. I can't stand that type of person. And so, well, it was kind of like a bit like, oh, why wouldn't you want positivity? It was like, well, thanks for letting me know quickly. Do you know what I mean? Because he had the guts to tell me straight up front. Like, even though, you know, it's kind of like, why wouldn't people want positivity? And that he didn't. He didn't want to see that positive quotes on someone's Facebook profile. He hated that. So he told me immediately. And it's a shame people can't be more honest about stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And tell the truth about how they really feel and think. Do you know what I mean? But you know, you have to understand that some people might even cut off and not speak to you, and they don't even say why it is. And that can be hurtful, because the brain, the human brain, we want to always think of completion. We want to get completion for something. So when someone ghosts you, they you know, disappear, they block you even, and they seemed really into you. It can be like, oh my God, what's gone on? What did I do wrong? But that's a reflection of them. If they're just blocking you and going out of your life and ghosting you, what does that say about their personality? What does that say about them? They're not suitable for you to be in a relationship with, and they can't even face the truth. They're going to be no good communicating in a relationship. And that's what you have to understand. A lot of these people that reject you will be no good at communicating in a relationship. Like that guy yesterday I saw on ASAP who said, oh, you look like my ideal lady. Then I replied to him. He didn't even message me one little message back. Nothing from my messages. You know, and he's seen the messages now. You know, so what does that say about his communication skills? It says when he comes across something that he doesn't like, is not suitable, or is against his ideology, or he just doesn't relate to, he's just going to go off and not speak to the person. You know, this type of guy is going to be no good in a relationship. A relationship needs a lot of honest, open, continuous communication, ongoing, right? That's what it needs. If you're going to be with someone for the rest of your life, for example, you're going to need this ongoing dialogue, and you're going to upset each other, and you're going to have a conversation with each other like once per week is really good, and say, look, this is what's going well for me in the relationship, this is what's not going so well for me in the relationship, this is what I feel is not going so well, this is why I feel this way, this is how this makes me feel, and what can we do going forward to better our relationship so we both feel good, and the other person's entitled to say that back to you as well. So it's an ongoing dialogue. So when all the romance and the fireworks and the sparkly bits have all kind of like died down a bit, and you're not in that honeymoon period that I love, then you've got the reality of two human beings living day to day with all the stresses and strains of life happening left, right, and centre to them. And they've got to maintain the relationship with you at the same time. That is hard. And if these people are quitting on you after a few messages or a few dates, they are not the person that's going to be suitable for you to be in a relationship with, because they're not going to have the stability for you. They're not going to have the communication skills you need. They're not going to give you the sense of, like unity that you need. They're not going to stabilize the relationship with you. They're not going to grow in the relationship with you. They're just going to cut off every time you've got a problem. So in a way, these people are doing you a huge, huge favor, because this is what happens. If you've got some conflict going on in the future, which you will have, they will just run away and shut themselves away and not speak to you. That is what these ghosting people are telling you that is their like. And so they're doing you a huge favor. They're like saying, well, instead of talking to you and saying my truth, I'm just going to run away and I'm just going to avoid speaking to you. That's not the person you want to be in a long-term committed relationship with. So if you're looking for a long-term serious committed relationship, not just someone that you can have a fling with or a few nights worth of dates with or a few chats on the internet or just passing the time, you need to be looking for a guy or girl or any gender that's not like that type of person that is doing those kind of horrible things to you, that is ghosting you, that is cutting off you, that is just deleting you or blocking you. Do you know what I mean? Or deleting their profile, So these people aren't the right person for you, but I know it hurts. If you're an emotional person, it can really hurt. You can be like, feel really rejected. Like, why is this happening to me? Why did this happen? But you have to say to yourself, what type of person does this make them? If you were to advise your best friend on, this person that's come into your life that ghosts you, if you were to say that was your best friend and they came online, this person was messaging your best friend and they were being really nice to them, and all of a sudden they started ghosting on them, not speaking to them, or worse, delete their profile, what advice would you give to them? You would say they're not worth your time, energy, and effort, and it's a good that they've left you alone to get on to meet someone who's the partner of your dreams. Because if that's their type of attitude, you really don't want that in a relationship. It's no good for you. And so in a way, although really hurtful and painful, they've done you a favor. And obviously I'm still here as your friend. So you still got someone who loves you as a friend and cares about you. Do you see what I mean? So, if you've got good friends, if you've got people who care about you or respect you, it does help a lot, because, it kind of reassures you that the rejection's got nothing to do with you. They just weren't the right person for you to be in a relationship with, or even, have any type of friendship with, if they can't even bother to speak to you. So you have to understand that a lot of it's about them, not about you. But they've given you their true colours. They've shown you what it's really like to be able to go hot and cold like that. What type of relationship's that going to be? Person's hot and cold. You're going to be so unstable in the relationship. You're going to be so disorientated and not know where you stand, that type of relationship is just going to put you on edge and make you anxious all the time. You want to be with a person who is going to be good for you, most of the time. There's going to be sometimes they're not exactly always going to be perfect for you. They might rub you up the wrong way sometimes by accident, or do things that like infuriate you a bit sometimes, but overall they're going to be steady and stable and strong. And if you've got a problem, they're going to be able to confront the problem with you. They're going to be able to sit down and talk to you. They're going to be able to video chat with you, message you. They're going to be able to sort the stuff out. They're going to see a future with you. They're going to plan a future with you. They're always going to be in contact with you. It's not going to be a question of, is this person going to message me today or not bother with me? which is what I find a lot in the asexual dating scene, is no one's really very much committed. They say they are looking for a committed relationship, but it's kind of, when it comes to crunch, they want to run away from it. Do you know what I mean? So my advice has always been, make sure you're ready before the person turns up for a relationship. You've got to be ready. I'm preparing myself for my future partner because it's important that I do that. I could say I'm not ready yet. There's loads of things that I need to do, especially career-wise, and maybe that's why I haven't found the right person yet. Maybe, although I say I want a committed relationship, maybe it's not the right timing. Maybe there's a lot of work I still need to do on myself. And it's important to recognize this, that you should be making way for the person coming into your life before they're even here. You should be, improving yourself, developing yourself, growing yourself, and developing your relationship skills. Your communication, how open you are, how honest you are, how, when a crisis happens, do you curl up in a ball at home thinking, I'm not going to come out of my shell and speak to anyone until I've decided what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to shut myself off from the world and not deal with my problems, because then you're not going to be ready for a relationship, are you? A person who's ready for a relationship is going to be like, okay, I've got this problem. Now, how do I solve it? Do you know what I mean? And that comes with time and practice. You have to practice in other areas of your life. Like if you have other problems cropping up, okay, this is a problem. Now, how do I find the solution? Not I can't find the solution. It's how do I find the solution? Even if it's not forthcoming right away, you've got to believe in your ability to work it out. And you've got to have trust and confidence in yourself, and you've got to know what you want in life overall. Do you know what I mean? It's no good not knowing what you want in life. Because if you don't know what you want in life, how's the other person going to know what you want and be stable with you? It's your job as a partner to look after the person's heart that you hold in your hand. I think this is something that's so missed fundamentally to most people get into relationships. They don't understand that they hold the most precious thing in their hands, which is their partner's heart. They do. Whether we like it or we don't like that idea, it's the truth. You've got that person's precious heart in your hand. They are being vulnerable with you if they're open and honest, which they need to be. They're being emotional with you. They are opening themselves up to a lot of potential hurt and pain themselves, and when they do that, you've got a person who's really into a serious committed relationship and really wants one, and is done some self-development and self-growth work. That's what they'll be like, so you have to understand that you hold that person's heart in your hand. If you're not prepared to hold their heart in your hand, you want to stamp all over it, don't be in a relationship. Don't encourage people to be in a relationship with you, because you're not ready for it and you will hurt someone, just like someone could hurt you. I know if I get into a relationship with someone, then I'm holding their feelings and emotions and heart in my hands, aren't I? And that's why when you're in a relationship, you do have to think about what you're doing, because you do affect the other person. It's no good saying, oh, I'm not affected by anyone. And I'm, like some people, like especially spirituality, you're not supposed to be affected by anyone, right? At all. You're supposed to get to the stage where no one affects you, nothing affects you, what anyone says or does, including someone in a relationship. But in reality, a lot of the time, we're not in that type of spiritual plane. And we do get affected by our partner's actions. If something they do or say hurts our feelings because we don't agree with it, we don't believe it, or it's just painful for us, or it's not nice towards us, then of course we're going to get affected. So we have to realize that these people that are rejecting us, it's good because they obviously were not the right ones for us. And if they're being like ghosting or little messaging, then clearly they're not going to be holding your heart in their hand and doing a good job of it, keeping it safe and comfortable. You need to know before you get into a relationship with someone that you are prepared for the future with them, that you want to be in a relationship with this person in the future. If you can't see a future with this person, don't bother getting into a relationship with them, because it's a waste of time. It's wasting their time and it's wasting your time, and in some ways people that ghost early on or don't reply to your messages, they're the better ones to have to have conversation or try to message, because if they cut you off straight away, they've saved you a lot of months of bother. The worst thing you can do is get into a situation where you're conversing with someone month after month and they never want a relationship in the first place. So that's a question you do need to ask up front. What is your reason for being on this site? What is your reason for being on this app? And that's something I ask people a lot on ASAP. What is your reason for being on this app? A lot of them come back with stuff like, oh, I don't know why I'm on there. I thought I'd just give it a try. It seemed a good thing to try. It's like, these people are not looking for a serious committed relationship. If you're not looking for a serious committed relationship, you're just looking for friendship, that's fine. But if you're dating with a view to getting into a relationship, these are not the type of people that you want to be conversing with month after month, because your feelings will get hurt, because you'll get attached to them, because you'll be having in your mind, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship. They'll be having in their mind, this is a cool friend to hang out with when I'm bored. Do you know what I mean? It's two different things. So don't waste your time. If you're looking for a relationship, you're on a dating site, then obviously make that clear to people. Obviously you need to be a friend to the person before you get into a relationship with them. But if you're going to be a friend with people and they definitely don't want a relationship and you definitely do, then that's not going to work. I'm specifically on ASAP for two reasons mostly. One is to find a relationship, and two is to get people to come to my asexual meetups. So if I'm not messaging someone about an asexual meetup, I'm interested in having a relationship with them usually. Do you know what I mean? Going back to eHarmony again, because I wanted to just read a few more things out from their site. So right, it says don't generalize, which I think is really important. Whether one or several people have turned you down or cannot logically generalize, turned you down, you cannot logically generalize to everyone or always. Each time, place, and person is different. What is true for one is not true for all, and the next person could be different. So stay hopeful and keep an open mind. I think that's really important because, like, I'm an extrovert. I have a very quirky personality. Some guys are not going to like that, right? But I don't want to be with one of those guys that doesn't like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's one guy on ASAP, and he is in his 20s. 26, I think he was. I've mentioned him before, and he's like, oh, you're too energetic for me. I might be in my 20s, but you're too energetic for me. Which he was telling me the truth, which was great. And he told me early on, which is brilliant. So, another guy will love my energy. He'll be like, wow, I wasn't feeling much energy until I met you, and you inspire energy in me. You invigorate me. You're like electric to me. It makes me feel great when I talk to you. It's like a spark in my life that just goes, wow, like fireworks. And I come alive when I'm with you and I talk to you. And that's amazing. That type of person will want to talk to me more, because it'll be kind of like I'm a trigger for them being really happy and positive. And, they should also be happy and positive in their life without me, obviously. But it will, if that energy inspires them and they feel great and fantastic being around it, because the right person will feed off that energy. They'll come alive. Like, as an extrovert person myself, right? If I spend too many days indoors, it's not healthy for me, because it doesn't feel good. I need to be connected to people. So sometimes I just need to go out and be around people. I don't need to necessarily speak to anyone and everyone, but I need to be around people to have that energy of life. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for an extrovert, I do sometimes lead quite an introvert life, because I'm indoors a lot, working on websites and things like that, or business stuff. It's quite a solitary life when I'm here in the flat on my own. But like every 3 days, really I need to be getting out, and it's nice when I can see asexual friends as well. Do you know what I mean? Because it just invigorates me. So, an introvert will get overwhelmed usually by going out too much. But I have to say, some of my introverted friends go out more than I do. They're like out far more than I do, and I'm like, okay, that's a bit weird. But I would say that I'm an extrovert with introverted tendencies, because I do spend so much time indoors. But do you see how this works? That not everyone that comes across you is going to like your personality or click with it or want to be with it, or or it be right for them, and vice versa. It's no good me being with someone who's so secretive. They got a symbol on their profile, and they don't want people to know that I'm with them in public, and they don't want to kiss me in public, and they don't want to be seen with me in public. I'm not that type of person. I'm loud, I'm proud, I'm out as asexual to the world. I need a guy who's very strong for me, who'll be able to be by my side. Say I do some public speaking or something, he'll be able to watch my event. It'll be like, yeah, I'm Sandra's guy, I'm here in the background for her, love her to bits, that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? And so I need a strong guy in that way for me. Otherwise, it's not going to work career-wise and personal-wise. I don't want someone's going to hide me away. And there's a lot of people, especially in the asexual dating scene, that are symbols or that are very secretive about their asexuality. You know, a lot of people fear about coming out as asexual, you know, but how does that bode for a relationship? You know, if you know what I mean, you know, if one person's fully out as asexual, the other person's like keeping it secret, how's that ever going to work? Because one person's going to feel trapped by the other, or the other person's going to feel exposed by the other. No, I'm going to feel trapped if that's their attitude. And the other person's going to feel like, well, you're telling secrets to the world that I don't want people to know. Do you see what I mean? It's not going to work out. So you have to find the right person that's going to click with you in a personality-wise, in your values and beliefs and morals and everything like that. And that is hard to get, but it's not impossible. So one of the things on eHarmony as well is like stay positive, and that is so important. You know, you need to stay positive and realize that just one rejection or several rejections doesn't mean to say you're not going to find the right one. In actual fact, it means you are literally getting rid of and eliminating all these people that are no good for you. So people tend to focus, and even I'm guilty of this myself. I try not to do it, but yes, sometimes my mind reverts back to, oh, but maybe he could have been the one. Clearly he wasn't the one, right? But you know, most people's minds focus on all the people that reject them, rather than focusing on the one person that they need to get that's right for them. You know, when you get that one person, just imagine you'll be like, thank God all these people rejected me. You know, thank goodness like these people like ghosted me, or, you know, and turn out not to be right for me. Do you know what I mean? Because when that person shows up, you'll then know that they're the right person for you. You're like, blimmin' heck, I would have missed out on all this. I would have been with someone who wasn't right for me and wasted my life. Whereas I don't want that for you. I've wasted my life in the past in that way. You know, I mean, although I say waste of it, I never think of everything or anything really as a waste, because it's lessons you learn from and things you've gained through every type of interaction, even if it's not good one. So, you know, look at that perspective. But you could argue I've wasted my life with so many people that weren't right for me. That's why I don't want to get into a relationship with just anyone these days, you know. And I've learned to love being by myself and single and be happy being single, because the last thing I want to do is get with the wrong person again and waste years of my life away being with the wrong person. I'd rather be single. My single life is much more better than when I was in a relationship. So, you know, that's what you've got to look at as well, is that, you know, you're not wasting your time with someone who's not right for you. You've got to eliminate things. If you're with the wrong person, the right one will never come along. And you might get into a relationship and the person might be very wrong for you, but you try and push yourself to seeing them that they're right for you. Do you know what I mean? If you ever had that experience where you've just been like, I feel this love feelings for this person. I don't really agree with this, that, and the other about them, but because I love them, I can see their point of view, and maybe I can accept this about them. And then before you know it, after a while, you've accepted so much about them that's so removed from what you actually wanted in the first place that you're actually not very compatible, but you're forcing yourself to be compatible with them. And so therefore you're putting yourself into a situation where you're not really getting your needs met personally, because you're so focused on the other person, on wanting to make them right, that you are kind of righting the wrongs about the relationship with them being with you. I'm not saying that person's wrong or you're wrong. I'm saying you're trying to right their wrongs for you in a relationship. Do you see what I mean? So, for example, I'm trying to think of an example now. If I okay, so that's a bit like right. So in the past, right, I'm really dead against drugs, right? I can't stand drugs. I hate drugs. I don't like any guys taking drugs. But when I got into a relationship with my exes at different times, two of those people would be doing stuff with drugs. Particularly one of them used to do that, you know, like be bad like that, you know. And that's the type of guy I never ever wanted for myself. Someone who did drugs or done drugs or was a full-on druggie at one point in their life. Do you know what I mean? That's the opposite of the type of guy I wanted. But because, like, when I got with them, I was friends with them first, and then they stopped. They was coming off drugs. They were like having like lower dose drugs, you know, like ones that are not so harmful. But I hate drugs. I'm an anti-smoking, anti-drug person. But, you know, I kind of like, oh yeah, okay, you're coming off them. I accept that about you, you know, and while they were with me, they weren't supposed to be taking them. Whether they were or not, I don't ever know. I know one guy who previously I was with a long-term relationship. He told me I wasn't smoking anymore, and then one of my housemates said, "Yeah, he comes up and walks up with a cigarette when you're not here." And so it's just lies. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's kind of a horrible situation because they probably think, well, I really want to smoke, but I'm not going to because I can't be with her, so I'm going to tell her a load of bullshit, basically. And then I'm thinking, like, well, I'm trying to accept the fact they've smoked in the past, and you know, with the other guy that had done drugs, I knew him as a friend. He was still on some drugs. You know, that was even difficult for me to be friends with someone that was doing drugs. You know, because he was affected by them. He used to get hallucinations and all sorts just from marijuana and stuff like weed, right? So it used to do weird things to him. He used to see darkness and creepy things. So but he was on heavy drugs, all types of drugs for a very long time. It doesn't really go from the brain. So I don't really want to get into all that. But the point is I was with someone who was totally wrong for me because I was so dead against it that I ended up accepting they'd done them in the past. As a friend, I accepted they were still doing them. And even as a friend, you know, I was growing to fancy them after some time. So it's like, you know, like it's like you force yourself to agree with something that's totally wrong for you because you want to love that person and have those feelings because you've had some feelings for them and you feel that they should be the right one for you. Do you know what I mean? And I get into a danger of doing something like that sometimes, not to that extent, you know, like it's like I actually did last year try kissing a smoker. You know, I've never kissed a smoker in my life. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't know the guy smoked until I turned up for the date because I'd seen him once when I was out with my friend. And when I had the date, I didn't realise he smoked. And so, you know, he went outside to smoke. But then after I was kissing him, like, I ended up with it. I was fine in the day. On the date, I was kissing him loads because I guess I got adrenaline from the kissing because I love kissing so much. But then what happened was I ended up with a chest infection for 7 weeks. But if I'd have stuck to my I don't date a kisser or be in a relationship with a sorry. I don't date someone who's a smoker who kisses. Sorry, my brain's going at this time. I don't date, you know, someone who kisses and smokes. That's what I'm trying to say. Who's a kisser and a smoker. You know, if I'd have stuck to that, then I wouldn't have had the chest infection. But the last guy I kissed, he vaped, and I didn't even know that till afterwards, you know? So I'm kind of like lowering my standards a little bit, really, to be truthful with you, aren't I? And I shouldn't be doing that because I can't be with a smoker. And that guy yesterday who stopped talking to me, I did tell him I can't be with a smoker. And he said he's an occasional smoker. So in a way, I should have just said, that's fine. You smoke, I can't be with a smoker and left it at that. But I didn't. So it's kind of my own fault that he didn't reply back. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I think I'm telling you that I'm guilty of this, and I know that other people can be guilty of this. And, you know, sometimes in the past, I've been guilty of doing it, not just like with one thing, but with multiple things, because, you know, in a relationship, they say, oh, you know, you have to be willing to sacrifice, make compromises. But when I was in my past relationships, I compromised myself. So I never even recognized who I was anymore. I didn't even know who Sandra Bellamy was. Like, who the heck is she? I don't know who she is. And I never ever want to be in that position where I do that again, ever. And I'd rather forever be single than put myself through that again. And I think it's very difficult when people do say about compromising, because a lot of the time when you compromise, someone misses out a lot of the time. It depends what the compromise is, you know, and you have to kind of think beforehand what you're prepared to compromise on and what you're not before you get into a relationship. But like I said, a lot of people, when they get into relationships, they can try and squeeze people into being what they want to be by either they try and force them to change or make them change, or they change themselves to conform to the ideology of what's a good relationship with that person that's not really suitable for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm against fox hunting, you know? So if I was with a guy who did fox hunting, I was actually with a guy whose family years ago did fox hunting. That may shock you. It's horrible. It was his family that did it. I totally disagreed with it and I hate it. And so, but even like, I have even relatives that were involved, and not my parents and not my direct family, but relatives years ago that I don't even know who were doing that. And I'm dead against that. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to get with a person that does stuff like that. But do you see what I mean? You can end up compromising yourself completely out of who you really are, your values, moral beliefs, if you're not careful. So I have to watch that with myself. Even now, I have to stop myself because I've got to be careful because I don't want to be with a smoker. I have to make that perfectly clear. I don't want to be with someone who drinks a lot of alcohol. Ideally, I prefer to be with someone who doesn't drink any alcohol whatsoever because I can't stand it. If I love kissing so much, which I absolutely do, if I kiss someone, they got alcohol on their breath, it's pretty yuck. But I'm more, like I'm able to hack that to a certain extent, but not smoking. I can't stand smoking. Do you know what I mean? But it's very difficult. Like, if I go out clubbing, a lot of the guys there are drinking alcohol. But the guy I was kissing last time, he had alcohol in his hands, but put them down before he kissed me and didn't touch them all night while I was with him. So I was quite glad about that. He's like, oh, I'd rather kiss Sandra than have any alcohol. I'm like, that sounds like a good plan. But do you know what I mean? If I was like with that guy all the time, I don't know what it hypothetically, which I'm not gonna be because we don't speak now. It was one night, but kissing. But do you know what I mean? Theoretically, how would that guy be good for me if he drinks alcohol all the time? I don't know if I could tolerate that. It's because I know a lot of guys do it, but the smoking. But I found out he was, like I said, a vapor. I didn't even know that. So, I've got to watch personally myself that I don't devalue my own values. Do you know what I mean? You can change your values, so you can change your beliefs if you want to change them or consciously change them, for the better, for the good, not because you're forcing yourself to change them because you want to be in this ideological relationship which ends up being nothing like you really wanted in the first place. That's what I'm saying, to be aware of. So you should get someone who really fits in with you and your life as much as possible and your morals and values, beliefs. And then there might be some things that you need to change, like certain habits. Like if you're like picking your nose at the dinner table and stuff like that, it's kind of gross, right? So you might want to be able to say, well, yeah, I could change that about myself for the person. Do you know what I mean? Because it's actually not healthy for me to do that. It's disgusting. Okay. And I've already said about let them go. It's like, that's the best thing to do is let them go. Do not go after someone who's rejected you. If someone's sent you a message, I mean, sometimes, you might want to say to the person, there are certain situations you might want to say, can you just give me some feedback, please, as to why you don't want to be in a relationship with me? If say you've been getting on really well with the person, they've been making comments that make you feel like they want a relationship with you, they're really interested in dating you, they're really interested in being in a relationship with you, then all of a sudden they start saying, well, I've thought about it and we're not going to be suitable for a relationship. You might want to get some closure and you might want to get some advice and, well, I wouldn't call it advice, feedback from why they particularly don't want to be in a relationship. And you can ask them, so why is it you don't want to be in a relationship with me? If you don't mind me asking, because it'd be nice to improve myself going forward for another relationship. But just because they say blah, blah, blah about you doesn't mean to say that you actually need to change anything. They could just be giving their opinion why you wouldn't be suitable for them. So don't think they are God and they know you, so they have the right to tell you what to do and to change you. They might just say that, there's something you do or there's their lifestyle and your lifestyle doesn't match up. Or like I said, it might be something like, in my case, that I'm too energetic for some guys or too outspoken and stuff like that. So that doesn't mean to say I'm going to change myself because it's who I am. I like being like that. Another guy will love it. He'll be like, wow, girl who just speaks her mind and says what's on it, tells it like it is. No game playing, no nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So there is someone for everyone out there. And yeah, the thing is, like, yeah, keep trying. It's really, really important to like not give up hope, because it can get very, you can feel very despondent and it can get very like, oh, not another person rejecting me, or not another person like ghosting, or not another person that's not putting time, energy and effort in. It can feel like a bit of a drudge, and sometimes you might just need to take a break from dating and think, right, I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to do some self-dating. I'm going to go out to the cinema. I'm going to put on my favorite music. I'm going to buy myself some flowers and chocolates. I'm going to have a night in of movies. I'm going to go out to the cinema. I'm going to have a picnic for myself. I'm going to go out for the day somewhere. I'm going to buy myself a nice new jumper. You just self-love. Sometimes you have to take yourself out of the dating scene when you've been rejected quite a bit, or you're feeling vulnerable, or maybe things aren't going so well in other areas of your life. It can really get to you. This is the truth. And so you kind of need to remove yourself from the feeling of needing to look at your phone every 5 minutes. Because I get into that state sometimes. I'm like, oh, maybe they're just busy enough. I'll message back another time, and that's the brain thinking a romantic notion, fantasy, what if type thing, But the reality is, it doesn't matter if they message you back like 1 or 2 days later. That's not the type of person you want to be in a relationship with. It doesn't give you the time, care, attention, and can't be bothered to continue conversation with you at regular intervals. Yeah. So you need to know that person's not right for you. So sometimes you need to just say, I've had enough. Maybe it's just for a few hours. Maybe it's for a few days. Maybe it's for a few weeks or a few months, But maybe it's just for a short period of time. Maybe you just need 3 days out and say, right, I'm not doing anything to do with dating for 3 days. I've had enough. I'm go back to it fresh in 3 days' time or something. Do you know what I mean? You might just need a break from it. And then other times, if all this rejection makes you feel really devastated and like there's something critically wrong with you and you're such a bad person, you might need to just think about if there's anything from your past that's cropping up, that these people who are saying, rejecting you in some way, if they're triggering past emotional events, past traumas and things. Like if you were made to feel like you weren't deserving of a relationship when you were a child, these people reject you, then it's going to make you feel twice or 3 times, 4 times, even 10 times worse, right? If you were told as a child, no one will love you, no one will want you the way you are, then when someone rejects you, it won't be just like, oh, I can shrug it off. It'll be like, oh my God, not someone else who said that to me or done that or made me feel that way. And it'll repeat in your mind. Even though you might be a strong person, wish it wouldn't, it will bring stuff up for you. And the best thing to do in that situation is to, like I said, either have a break from dating or go and see a therapist or counselor or something like that. But you might just need to calibrate back and centralize yourself into saying, I need some time with me. I need some self-love time. I need to work on myself and grow my own spirit some more, and take a break from dating because I'm not ready for a relationship, because relationships are hard work. When you get into one, it's not always easy. I wish it was all moonlit roses and, moonlight and candlelight and roses. That's why I just think I'm better off with myself, really, because I have that type of life for myself. But yeah, so always make your own life as fun as possible, because then when the rejection happens, it won't be such a big blow. Like if you've not got much exciting going on in your own life and life's a drudge and you're not really living your true authentic self and you're not embracing your quirky, you're not nourishing your inner child, the rejection will feel like much more painful, because you'll be like, oh my God, that was like my life and world was going to depend on this person being with me, which you don't want to be in that situation. You want to make yourself as stable and secure and confident in and of yourself as possible before this other person comes along. And if these other people reject you, it's going to be like, oh, well, another one bites the dust, plenty of fish in the sea. Do you know what I mean? I think with asexuals, it's harder because when you go on asexual dating sites or asexual app, there tends to be the same people over and over again on there. There's not many new people. So in these instances, spend more time self-dating to pump your own emotional happiness up and to make yourself feel good that you're actually getting out dating, even if it is with yourself, because yourself is the best person to date. You can watch what you want on the movies, you can eat what you like, you don't have to worry about waiting for someone to do time, take yourself out for a day trip, that type of thing. But do you know what I mean? You need to nourish your inner soul and being in those times when this is happening. But also you might need to try new things. You might need to try to go to new meetup places, might need to try to go to new events, might need to register on some sexual dating sites, which is, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going on there if you're asexual, because it's very difficult. You have to, be very, very strong in and of yourself if you go on there and know that most people will just sweet talk you and want sex. Do you know what I mean? But you might just want to join a new club, like a photography club, a pottery club, a dance class. You might just want to get out and about and join some more groups to mingle with people of like-minded, because you might find someone suitable for a relationship there. I think it's definitely harder when you're asexual, but I don't think it's impossible. And there might be a few people out there, which I'm sure there are, and I know some on YouTube, where they are in a relationship and they don't have sex. One of them's heterosexual, for example, and the other person's asexual. So it can happen. It's not completely impossible. But if you're looking for someone asexual, just think there's probably thousands of asexuals around the globe that don't even know they're asexual yet. So, like if you think asexuals being 1% of the population, then 1 in every 100 people you're likely to meet is going to be asexual by that statistic. probably likely more, to be honest. So, you know, when you're out and about, you might actually find some asexuals. I'm not saying they're going to happen to pop up on your doorstep or anything like that. It's, you know, it's not like it's going to just happen, but there might be odd people that do come into life. Like I found Ray, who's on this channel a lot. I found him in a sexual dating group, and he's asexual. You know, I found someone else in a sexual dating group who's asexual and didn't realise they were, because they didn't hear of it before, you know. And I've been with my friend. She did a karaoke competition, and one of the guys that came there was asexual, but he was not bothered in relationships, you know. So there are people around that don't realise they're asexual, or do know they're asexual, but you know, they don't know about all these online forums or online dating sites and everything. So I don't think you should, you know, give up. I think you should stay hopeful, but still keep loving your life in the meantime, and plow a lot of energy and effort into, you know, your current life, and also plan for the future of your partner and think what the ideal relationship would be like create an avatar of what that ideal person would look like the most amazing perfect person ever, which you're never going to get a perfect person, but if you have an idea of what your perfect person would be, then you can get someone near it if you don't deviate from it, right? You know, much, do you know what I mean? Like, you need to stay strong. So, you know, the hair color, the eye color, the physique, if that is important to you, the type of job that they do, the type of place they live, where they live, how it's going to work out with living arrangements. If you want to live separately, like how often do you want to see the person in your ideal world? 2 or 3 times a week or more? You know, do you want to spend half the time in your place, half the time in their place? Do you want to share a bed? Do you don't want to share a bed? Do you want to have separate rooms or the same room? Do you know what I mean? Do you just want to see each other in the daytime, then go home to your own home at night? If you want to move in, like, how's that going to work financially? Are they working at the moment, or are they, you know, on benefits? You know, if you got a stable job, are you able to afford to pay for them and yourself as well? What happens if one of you loses a job, if your outgoings are more than your incomings? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've got pets, do they like pets? Do they want pets? Can you take your pet with you? If you move in to live with them, never leave your pets in an abandoned house. I have to say that because I was absolutely shocked. I met a woman recently, and she got offered a cat, and told she was having this cat, and she had other cats, and she was thinking, well, I don't really need or want another cat per se, but she took it anyway. And she said, I'm so glad I did, because the owner was moving into a house and just going to leave the cat in the flat to basically die. And I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. I don't know how people can do that. You know, if you've got an animal you don't want, take it to the RSPCA. Give it to someone. Don't leave it and abandon it in a place where it dies. It's disgusting. I really, really get angry and peed off about stuff like that, you know? So I was shocked. But you have to be thinking about these things. If you've got pets, if you end up being with someone who doesn't like pets, how's that going to bode well? It's not going to be great, is it? So you need to work that out before you move in together, if the person's moving in with you, right? Having said this, you know, like, people can change, or, you know, as long as everything's talked about beforehand. So my best female friend, she's not that into animals, right? And she's actually allergic to hair, pet hair. But when she moved in with a guy, before she moved in with him, she knew she'd be with a dog all the time, because he has a dog that lives with him, and quite old, you know, 13, so still got some years left of life. And the dog is like literally in the home all the time. It's got its own sofa. But my best friend now loves the dog. She says she doesn't get any allergies with it, and she buys it Christmas stocking. And she loves it. So I'm really happy about that, because the guy loves his dogs, but that's going to be the last dog he has, he said, because he wants to go traveling with her when he retires in a few years' time. So, but you know what I mean? So, you know, people can accommodate and change, but she knew he had a dog in the house. So that was a thing she had to accept. When she moved in, she either accepted the fact he got a dog and it was going to be there till the end of his days, or she didn't move in, basically. So, you know what I mean? You've got to make sure you're kind of thinking ahead of all these things, you know, like logistically, can you afford to move? Could you get a job in other places? Are you a mover or non-mover? Are you someone that really wants to move countries, that really wants to move cities or towns? Or are you someone who wants to stay fixed where you are? Do you know what I mean? Because that's important. If you're fixed where you are, you need to find someone who's a mover, someone who moved to you, if you want that type of relationship, close relationship, like proximity, which most people do in the end. They might be right for a long distance relationship for a bit of time, but they're going to want their partner near them usually. Do you know what I mean? To have a proper, healthy, loving relationship where you actually spend some quality in-person time together, not just over the internet. So, you know, the best thing, like I said, is to just write out your ideal type of person, you know. And it is hard if you're feeling down, you know, because you've been rejected. It kind of is like, oh, I don't want to be thinking about that now. But, you know, kind of thinking about your ideal person, when you mark out what they're like, you can look at these other people and think, God, they're nothing like what I like. You know, that's why they're rejecting me, because they're doing me a favor, because they're not suitable or right for me, you know. And I think, like, it can get a bit frustrating as an asexual person. Like, you go on these, like I said, dating sites and apps, it's just the same people over and over again a lot of the time. There might be one or two new people. And especially if they're not romantic people, then, you know, like, and you are, then you kind of miss out. Well, feel like you're missing out, but don't forget, if you're with the wrong person, you can't be with the right person. So all the people that are rejecting you are wrong for you. And so therefore, they're making way for the person who is right for you. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form. If you have, and you haven't already, please give it a thumbs up. I'm really happy to say I've already got 4 thumbs up. So 4 kisses for that. Thank you so much for attending. If you've got any comments, queries or questions before I go, please leave them in chat. If not, then you can leave any comments, queries or questions in the meantime below this video, and I'll endeavour to talk about them on another video or answer your comments. Thank you so much if you've subscribed already. If you haven't already subscribed to this community, please do subscribe down below and hit that bell notification to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. So if you don't hit the bell icon, you won't get notified immediately when I go live. So if you want to join in the chat and be with me every night that I do live streams, please do that. And don't forget to share this channel with a friend or anyone who may benefit. So it's youtube.com/asexualize, that's with an S, my asexual life. So asexualize is spelled with an S, British spelling, not American. Asexualize, my asexual life. So go and share the channel with friends and get them to join in with the chat here. It'll be absolutely awesome. Or if they just want to observe, they can do that as well. So until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. And I want to send all my love to you. Thank you so much, Sam, for watching tonight. And Emrican, is that how you pronounce it? Emma Can? Is that how you pronounce your name? It's a very nice name, Emmacan. Is that how you pronounce it? I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. So thank you to you too. Very much for tuning in. Lots of love. Thank you so much for being part of my community here. I really appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on the next video or live stream. Take care and thank you. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Lots of love.